the same pain you do when the bill comes in the mail. When times are at their worst, people are looking for someone they can trust. And with 5 consecutive years of being named the best of Will County in the insurance category, why not consider calling the Malloy Agency? 815-463-5800. Like a good neighbor, we are and will be there when you need us.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
You've heard all the ads. You keep putting it off. Make today the day you call Advantage Driver Training and change your career. 4 short weeks from now, you can have your CDL driver's license and a whole new job when you call Advantage Driver Training today. You've heard all the advantages of getting your CDL truck driver's license from Advantage Driver Training, like choosing from day or evening classes taught by experienced truck drivers with small class sizes in a Secretary of State approved CDL school. This is a whole new career in 4 short weeks with one low, all-inclusive price and no hidden costs. Not all driver training schools are the same. So do your homework and take advantage of Advantage Driver Training's huge new facility for your future. The opportunities are better than ever before. So let's get this CDL career thing done this fall. Call Advantage Driver Training today or go online, advantage-drivertraining.com. Advantage Driver Training, going the extra mile for you.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
EDGYTIM is here. Coach Rod is here. The best high school football fans in the state are here. It's time for Pigskin Preview. Coaches, players, fans, and experts. You get them all right here on Pigskin Preview. Powered by State Farm agents Kevin Malloy and John Wright.
And good evening and welcome. It is the Week 10, or if you'd like, the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM along with the coach Joe Rodegaro and Evan Bredesen spinning the dials. Evan, you know we're both deaf by now, so you should know better than that. Welcome. Glad to have everyone on board. And, of course, this edition and every edition, Joe, of Pigskin Preview brought to you by our State Farm agents, Kevin Malloy in New Lenox and John Wright in Joliet. Like a good neighbor, Joe.
State Farm is there.
And our broadcast schedule is as follows. We are Friday intensive, Friday 6:05, Friday Night Lights with Evan Bredesen back on the pregame show. That will lead you into 7 o'clock kickoff from Joliet West Stadium, Joe. We are making history covering the Joliet West game. They are hosting St. Ignatius. I fully expect a packed, do we dare say it, Joe, a sold-out crowd.
I would hope so.
I tell you what, I've talked to a lot of people around town, and a lot of these people are not necessarily Joliet West fans. They're going to the game Friday. So there's a lot of buzz. A lot of people are looking at showing up to Joliet West on Friday to go support the Tigers, which is awesome. So that is our broadcast schedule. Again, you can hear that game here live on 1340 WJOL, WJOL.com. Also on the Odyssey app, just look up for WJOL. Joe, the Week 10 WJOL EDGYTIM.com Big 5 poll is as follows.
Number 5, Joliet West. Number 4, Joliet Catholic. Number 3, Lincoln Way Central. Number 2, Morris. And number 1, Lincoln Way East.
And that is the WJOL EDGYTIM Big 5 poll. You can find that every Monday morning on Slocum in the Morning. So again, busy show, but we will have some time for your calls. Actually, we'll open it up right now. 815-254-7300. Dave Dwyer will join us in a little bit from WJOL. We will talk about some of the area teams and dig into the brackets. The Sousinator, Seuss-Tober, Steve Soucy will join us from Friday Night Drive. We will continue our playoff talk. 7 o'clock hour, Coaches Hour, Jake Jaworski, JCA, Dan Tito, Joliet West, Matt Lang, our guy, small school analyst, and we will break down some of the small school brackets as well. Love to hear your calls and thoughts. 815-254-7300. Joe?
Yes, sir.
A lot of interesting first round matchups as well.
Yes.
But in the meantime, let's go out to the phone lines. Hello, Bob.
What's up, guys?
Well, it's playoff time, my friend. That's what we live for. That's what we're here for. I'm sure you've been planning and scheming and getting set to make your trek down to Peoria.
You got that right. Leaving at 4 o'clock.
There you go. Newly renovated Peoria Stadium. Brand new field turf. Brand new visitor side. So, Bob, I think you'll be impressed. It's especially when you realize how old that stadium is and the work that they've done. So it's
that'd be good.
Yeah, it'll be a nice setting. Now parking, there's a lot of land around there, so I know that they kind of park on the fields surrounding it. So I think you'll be okay with parking, but I know you get there early anyway. So
yep.
Thoughts going into this? JCA, of course, on the road Friday night at Joliet or at the Peoria Stadium, taking on the Peoria Lions.
Yeah, I see they scored a lot of points.
They do. And Joe and I talked about this. They are mostly a run team. I know I've seen people have made mention about them throwing it more than last year. They didn't throw it a whole lot last year. So it's not a huge increase in the passing game, guys. It is an offense that's very up-tempo. They want to get going. Very seldom they'll slow things down. They'll speed things up depending upon what they want to do. Very big offensive line, very good backs as well. So, fundamentally, Joe, a lot has not changed. I think if anything, defensively, they're a bit better than they've been the last few years. So It's a very tough team. Bob, you'll love this. They onside kick every single kickoff.
Oh, boy, we got to be ready for that.
You got to be ready. Guarantee it.
That all week.
Jaws has got them out there right now working on onside kicks.
They go for 2 every time.
They go for 2 every time, and they onside kick every time. So, yeah, you got to have your head on a swivel for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joliet West is going to have their hands full. If they played the way they played against us.
Yeah.
They put that big boy. They put that big boy in the back as a fullback.
Yeah. What? You never seen a 6'6", 290-pound fullback before? Come on, Bob.
I tell you, like a take.
Yeah, he's something else.
The only way I could figure to stop him was bring your linebackers.
You got to wrap him and hit him low. Yep. You got to hit him low.
Once he gets started, it's like, hey,
I know.
You ain't going to stop him.
He's going to drag you.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking about Justin Scott. So, again, we will.
Good player.
Yeah, very much so. Bob, good luck on the travels, okay?
All right. You guys have a good night.
All right. Thanks to Bob for joining us. We'll go back out to the phone lines. I'm sure this guy's got a few thoughts on the playoffs. Greg joins us from Tinley. Hello, Greg.
Hello, guys. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So where are you going?
I'm going out to Lincoln Way Central.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch that one with Jacobs.
Going to watch the Rob Zavonar Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I didn't know the guy from Jacobs was an East guy, but it does make it a little more interesting.
Well, he was actually was he a combined guy, a one school Lincoln Way guy, Zimmerman?
I can't.
I don't remember, but I think he was either Central or the combined Lincoln Way when he was there as a student, and then obviously started coaching with Z. So yeah, there's a ton of connections there with Brian Zimmerman, and terrific guy, very good coach. He's done a nice job with Jacobs. They have a Power 5 tight end in Grant Steck. Also play some defensive ends for Jacobs, and pretty solid team. So it'll be a good test for Lincoln Way Central.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. You know, there are a couple other games I wanted to talk to you, but I know you're going to go through the area games. So these games are big games, but they're really not in our area. How about Brother Rice at Batavia?
It's a good
and
one.
HF at York. What do you think of those two games?
Yep. I mean, you can never take a Catholic League school lightly. I don't care what seed, Joe, they are and what their record is. Brother Rice has been banged up on and off most of the season, especially defensively. I know Christian Pierce is out for the year with an injury. But see, what would scare me if you're Batavia a little bit, the style of play of Brother Rice.
Yes.
They want a ball control and they want to run the football and they really don't want to give it back to you. So again, you're hoping to limit Batavia's chances, but Greg, that's a very good Batavia team.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, well, I saw them, at the East game.
Yep.
And I was very much impressed.
What was the other game?
HF at York. I got a feeling HF. They've been they're getting their act together lately,
It's possible. York is very good.
Did they get the running back?
I believe Melian will be back.
Okay.
So again, I saw him get hurt week 8. It seemed like it was one of those where he probably would have been good to go last week. I think they kept him out. Again, if you saw York last year, very similar style wise. They're 70-30 run pass, but they do things very well.
Yep.
Good line play, and I mean, Greg, I wouldn't be shocked. Again, I think it'll be a game. I think in 8A, there's a lot of strange matchups. Meaning, Joliet West with a home game. Look, we're just being honest here. No one saw that coming at the beginning of the year.
No.
So you've got schools like Joliet West, and there's some others that I just don't know how well they're going to fare here in the opening round. And then there's some others that are like complete battles, and I think HF and York could be one of those games. And I wouldn't be shocked if Brother Rice and Batavia is one as well. So yeah, those are two good ones.
Yeah, we're going to be looking forward to seeing what happens there. Something else I wanted to ask you real quick.
Yep.
I was getting the live feed from the Mount Carmel Loyola game last week, and I noticed that Mount Carmel was down like at a 3-yard line, and instead of it was before anybody scored, and they didn't go for a field goal. Don't they have a kicker? Or what's their deal?
The deal is his name is Jordan Lynch, and he's the head coach. And he has been, and Greg, he has done this since the moment he took over that job. He does not like kicking field goals. He does not like punting. He likes going for it on 4th down because he trusts his offense and he also trusts his defense. Now, some people, and maybe even some people in this room would argue with you sometimes that that's not the greatest thing to do, and sometimes you put yourself in trouble when you don't need to. But that's why he's the coach, and we're a couple of mopes in Joliet and a radio station doing this.
Yeah. I don't know. You get a chance, it's going to be a tight game, and they wound up losing by 2 points.
Yeah,
and he doesn't take the. I don't know.
Yep.
And then they did a similar thing later in the game. So all right.
Yep. Well,
okay.
He still has a shot at the state title, so we'll see. We'll see if that philosophy changes in a state title game. I think maybe you take the 3.
Yes.
So all right, Greg.
I understand it, but
thanks for joining.
Guys.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks,
good week.
Greg.
All right, Greg drops off. Evan?
Well, I was just gonna say the whole thing of going for it, in the red zone, not kicking field goals, going for it on 4th down. We see it a lot of younger coaches. Brandon Staley in the NFL, famously, a younger coach, has caught a lot of heat for doing it. We've seen college coaches, younger, Kenny Dillingham down at Arizona State and Dan Lanning out in Oregon. They're very and it's this whole thing of analytics. The analytics say
that's it.
Kicking the field goal doesn't really give you that much of an advantage. So they go off these analytics now that are telling them, you know what? If you're 4th and goal at the 2, you'd be better off going for it and not getting it than kicking the field goal.
You know what I think we need to do here at 1340 WJOL? We need to invest in some analytics so Joe can have that in the pregame show.
Yeah, so I can think a little more.
Joe, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts about that, Evan, my thoughts on these things. The spread formations, don't put the guy under the center.
Yes, 100%.
You get inside the 2-3 yard line. I would love to see a fullback or even a guard play fullback, and let him run behind.
Well, you saw it in college football last week where Texas should have lost to Houston, 4th and inches at their own 10, and Houston goes shotgun 5 wide and does a rollout pass on 4th and inches. And the coach said after the game, he said, we can't sneak. We don't know how to take the ball from under center. How can you be in week 7, 8 of the season and admit that your quarterback doesn't know how to take the ball under center? But Edge, we've talked about this. A lot of these high school offenses are the same way, where I'm now seeing teams coach take the kneel down in shotgun formation because they're more comfortable snapping it that way than actually going under center.
And I quote Allen Iverson, practice. You talking about practice?
Yep.
Edge, I'd like to say a shout out to all my grandkids are watching us live on TV. And
I'm sorry.
Oh, they love their papa. Oh, they love
They
Noni.
do.
They love Noni better, but they love their papa.
It's not you I was apologizing for.
I know.
All right, we're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we will start digging into the Will County area games this weekend. The one, the only, the Velvet Voice veteran broadcaster, Dave Dwyer, will join us. You are listening to the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
Okay, everyone, gather around. It's time for corny jokes about passing the torch.
The team at Kirian's Welding was fused together solid.
Thanks for all the late nights and early shifts.
But double retirements mean the crew must bond with some certified new hires.
You've both gone the extra millimeter.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
It's October, and most of us aren't really thinking about the thick of the upcoming winter, the wind, the bitter cold, the snow. But at Morningstar Mission, winter is all we're thinking about right now. You see, while every day at Morningstar Mission is busy, it's during the winter and holiday seasons that things get busier than ever, as the weather gets colder and the needs get tougher.
Sometimes you didn't have all the clothes that you would need, so you'd box up with cardboard, or you'd, tidy up with newspaper underneath your clothing.
Yes, it's October, but it's not too early to get involved in making sure Morningstar Mission is prepared for the increased needs that happen during the winter and holiday season. Each gift of $2.48 is all it takes to provide a meal and care for every person who will come in and out of the cold this winter.
Just felt like a big weight lifted off my shoulders. This person is making me some food. You don't even know my name.
Give online today at morningstarmission.org. That's morningstarmission.org.
Jiffy Lube has teamed up with Meals on Wheels to help provide meals and more to seniors in our community. Join us in making a difference in the lives of our aging neighbors by donating at your local Jiffy Lube service center throughout the month of October. 100% of funds raised support Meals on Wheels programs in your local community. And for each customer who donates to the Meals on Wheels program, Jiffy Lube will make a donation to help provide even more meals to local seniors. For a list of Jiffy Lube locations, visit chicagolandjiffylube.com. Jiffy Lube, drive to do more.
Hi, this is Kathy Carosa from the Pocus on Tour radio show. Bruce and I would like you to join us every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., right here on WJOL 1340 a.m. Will County's News, Talk, and Sports.
High school football on 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports. EDGYTIM, along with the coach, Joe Rodegaro and Evan Bredesen. We are here. for the next hour plus, and we're going to break down probably as much IHSA playoffs as we possibly can in that 2 hours. So, again, Joe, we need to go through the area games, and we're hoping to connect with Dave Dwyer. He must be having cell problems on his end.
You know, Edge, before we get David on, I'd like to, again, thank all the people who listened to us. And
I know. We had a big audience on Playoff Pairing Night. It was crazy.
Night. Thank you very much for coming on with us.
Well, there was no doubt because Dewey was in with us.
Oh, of course.
All right.
No, because Daniel was with us.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Dave Dwyer joining us from 1340 WJOL. Well, hello, sir.
Guys, how we doing?
Good. So, again, we did a lot on Saturday night, but we really didn't break down the games. So I thought maybe we would do that. So let's go through, guys. I'll run us through. We'll start in 8A. We'll work our way down, guys. Plainfield North, they get in as a 4-5. They get a 32 seed. They are on the road at Loyola Saturday, 1 o'clock. Guys, my initial thought on this is, I'm glad Plainfield North got in. Absolutely horrible draw. But, Joe, you know what you're going to get when you're that far down. You know you're not going to get a great matchup. And the one thing Plainfield North has done all year, they've played defense pretty well all year. I think that's what you're hoping for against Loyola, at least maybe for a first half or so.
They're going to run up against the Loyola team, which is, as you mentioned early in the year, Edge, because you saw them, the biggest team
in
football.
High school ever.
They are huge.
Physically huge.
Just watching the game last week against Mount Carmel on TV, their wide receivers are all 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's ridiculous. And the Fitzgerald kid's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He is a good quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dewey, thoughts?
I agree with you guys. Tough draw. Loyola's going to be on all cylinders.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Also in 8A, the game, our WJOL game of the week tomorrow night at 7 o'clock kickoff. Joliet West, the 9 seed, hosting St. Ignatius, the 24 seed. And guys, if you needed any questions about St. Ignatius, just talk to your neighbors because the JCA fans got an eyeful of the Wolfpack last Friday.
Dewey, I think if Joliet West is going to stay in this game and possibly win this game, they cannot. The way the offense is for St. Ignatius, with the option type stuff, they cannot let St. Ignatius get ahead of them. They got to stay ahead on the scoreboard in order to win this game.
I agree. You're going to have to play probably the best game you've played all year.
Yeah, you got to be. It's got to be clean football.
Clean, right.
Yep.
Got to be clean football. So again, that is the game of the week tomorrow night, and then of course Lincoln Way East, the number 2 seed overall, hosting Chicago Taft. Dewey, any insights on Chicago Taft?
Is the Tin Man winding up already?
He's already out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I was telling these guys, I watched a little tape of Chicago Taft, and they've got a couple decent running backs. They do. I'm going to give them a little credit there, but offensively and defensive lines stand straight up on the snap of the ball. And if you're going to do that against that Lincoln Way East team, it's going to be a long night for you.
And then also in Class 8A, guys, Minooka at home, 15 seed, hosting Sandburg, an 18 seed. And guys, I don't know. I get the feeling these two are very similar in a lot of ways. And Joe, somebody's got to score some points and win the game here.
I was just going to say, I think the first team to 20 points is going to win this game because both teams are good defensively. Both teams have had their problems offensively at times during the course of the year. But this is, in my opinion, maybe one of the marquee matchups, the most evenly matched.
Pretty evenly matched
in our area.
And Dewey, it's, again, Minooka, big offensive line up front, but same with Sandburg. So, I mean, again, a lot of areas just kind of match. And I think Minooka could be in a real tight ball game.
They could be, and it might not get to 20.
Yeah, you're right. It might not.
Yeah. Again, by the way, I want to update everybody. And again, we always got to remember and take the weather into thought here. Obviously, it's out there raining now. Now, the forecast for tomorrow, certainly in this area, is a high of 71, scattered showers and thunderstorms. I don't like that T word in the forecast, boys.
No.
I don't like that at all.
No.
The wind's only like 7 miles an hour, which is, actually gusting up to 10 to 15. Oh, there we go. Chance of rain 50%. So again, the weatherman has no idea what it's going to do. So they'll say 50%.
50-50.
Again, we'll see what happens. And then Saturday's not looking a whole lot better, actually. Mix of cloud and sun early, becoming cloudy later in the day. No talk of precipitation, though, on Saturday. We're going to drop 20 degrees from the day before. So you can manage that, you're okay. Yes. But should be dry. So we'll see. And then finally, guys, in 8A, Lockport gets in. There are 27 seed guys. They're on the road, Joe, at Maine South.
Again, Lockport, George, and he's told us many times that we've had him on that their secondary has problems lining up and covering guys, and that's going to be a main thing for Lockport. If defensively against a very strong Maine South team, I think Rice beat them 10-7 the first game of the year, so. They're up against it at Maine South. They're going to score some points, but again, defensively, especially in the secondary, I think that'd be my biggest worry if I'm a Lockport fan.
Dewey, your take on the Porters in this one?
History's on their side. Only other times they've played Maine South, we know how that's ended for the Porters.
That's true.
Yep. Moving on in the area in Class 7A, both Lincoln Way West and Lincoln Way Central get home games. Lincoln Way West is a 12 seed. They host Hoffman Estates. I can tell you the Hawks, very athletic, a lot of speed. Nathan Cleveland's a junior. He plays quarterback. He plays some linebacker. Very good overall athlete. They have an excellent running back. His name is Matt Lawson, committed already to Illinois State. He's had a big year for them. And, the receiver's name, Sutton is his last name. Savion Sutton, maybe? So they've got some burners. They don't have a big team up front, but a lot of speed for Lincoln Way West to contend with, Joe.
I think Lincoln Way West with Campana's got to be able to hold the ball. I mean, they're going to have to control the game, which they have, and that's going to be my thing with Lincoln Way Central too. But Mr. Campana has had a great year for Lincoln Way West, and the quarterback is decent enough, and receivers are good enough that I think they're going to come out with a victory.
Dewey?
I think it's to be lower scoring for West. If that's the case, I agree with Joe.
And then Lincoln Way Central, they're also at home. They're the 10 seed taking on Jacobs, the 23 seed. As we talked about, lots of Lincoln Way East connections here between Brian Zimmerman, obviously, as well as Dave Woodburn. I like Lincoln Way Central's chances here, Joe. I think that, and Dewey, I think that, again, when they're on their game, I think defensively they should be able to limit Jacobs here a little bit. And I just think offensively with Noto and be able to mix things up enough offensively, I think they can get it done.
Yeah, they have proven all year long that they can run against anybody. And that's what they're going to have to do here. Kind of Lincoln Way West Central, kind of the same formula to win here. And as you said, Edge, defensively, they're pretty solid, especially in the secondary.
And then moving down to 6A, guys, Lamont on the road Saturday, 3:00 kickoff in East St. Louis. And I know that the folks in Southern Illinois are really trying to pump up Lamont going into this game. And Joe, you look at the recent history in Dewey, it makes sense. I mean, Lamont has played East St. Louis very tough the last handful of times they've met up. But number one, this time they're in East St. Louis, so that is a little bit of advantage to the Flyers, no doubt about it. And Dewey, this is not the same Lamont team. This is guys, and Joe, you know this, a Lamont team that's been really banged up all year, and I just don't know how well they'll do with not all hands on deck for this game.
Yeah, too many injuries at very key positions, and it's just they just squeezed by TF North last week. And Ed, you and I saw East St. Louis up close and personal, just too much talent on that field, just way too much. And the speed is going to probably kill Lamont in this game. But Lamont is not going in with all, with their full arsenal, and that's going to really hurt them.
But again, Dewey, I think the key in this is Lamont being able to play their game, meaning they're able to run the football, they play clean football, they don't turn it over, not very many penalties, and hope East St. Louis, Joe, does a little bit of that.
They're capable of doing that too.
Right. We saw it against Mount Carmel. They had some turnovers and some penalties, and honestly, at this point they just kind of expect that's going to happen, and they're good enough to make up for it.
Yeah, I agree.
that could be a little dangerous. Guys, Dewey, we'll start with you in 5A. And Joliet Catholic, they wind up with a 12 seed. And again, we talk about how costly that loss was in week 9, and that's the price right there. You're on the road at Peoria. Dewey, your thoughts going into this one?
It's simple. If they want to go down there and get a win, they're more than capable, but I think it's 3 things. You got to eliminate the silly penalties. You can't have a lot of penalties. You got to take care of the football. I know that's coach speak. I think the biggest thing they have to do is have good, long Joliet Catholic drives and dominate that time of possession, and that's the formula for them to get a win.
I totally agree with you, David. It's going to be, their defense against their offense. But as you said, if they can control the time of possession, they'll be in great shape.
Because let's face it, Peoria is going to try to force you into mistakes. They're going to onside kick every kick. They are going to bring the house. They're going to try to blitz when you're running, and you're either going to get stuffed or you're going to break a big one. And they know that when they go into it. They're daring you to try to challenge them a little bit defensively is what Peoria is going to throw at you. And I agree, but you've got to control that game, Dewey, from the onset. You've got to control it from the opening kick, especially if Peoria is kicking off to you.
Agree.
Providence, they are on the road. They're a 15 seed. They travel to take on number 2 seed Morton, guys. Morton, generally Joe, I know you watched a little bit of them. I know generally a run team. They like to run the football quite a bit. Well coached. Come out of a pretty solid conference in the middle line. Other than that, Joe, your thoughts?
I just think the schedule, Providence might have had the toughest schedule.
One of them, for sure.
In the state. Playing the teams that they have, they're not going to see anything that they haven't seen in Morton. We talked to Tyler Plants even yesterday, they stay away from kind of dumb penalties and turning the ball over. I think they've got a great shot to win this game.
Dave?
I agree. I mean, you look at it, and they've been playing much better football as of late, the Celtics. They're going to have to go down there and play Celtic football, which is control the ball. I think it's similar to Joliet Catholic with the time of possession thing, and if they can do those things, they'll be in good shape.
And looking at the brackets for both Joliet Catholic and Providence, I think even more so for Providence. Your first game might be the toughest game for a couple of rounds. Yeah. Honestly. Now I know Joliet Catholic a little bit different because you've got Morris at the very top of their part of the bracket. And then obviously it breaks my heart to say this, but I think Sacred Heart will beat TF North on Saturday and they'll advance. So you'll have Sacred Heart and Morris going at each other, but the winner of that could be a very, very tough opponent if JCA can get by Peoria. Providence, you beat Morton, and you've got Hillcrest at Carbondale, and God, you hope you don't have to make the trip to Carbondale. That's number one. Right. So hopefully Providence wins and they win. That game will be in the Emerald Isle, but outside of Decatur, MacArthur might be the one scary team because they got a freshman running back. It's terrific. So again, that could be wild, guys, but that could be wide open. Dewey, we hear a lot of talk about the Morris football team this year. Are you hearing the same?
Hearing the same. I actually been touching base with Rob Osterly for a couple different things, who's very tuned in there, and a lot of people there feel this is the best Morris team's the Durgo team, and you guys know what kind of statement that is.
Yeah, I think they're very good. I'm actually picking them to win it all, Dewey, and I just they're battle tested. They're a very good team on both sides of the ball. They'll make their mistakes. When we talked to Alan Thorson a couple weeks ago, they'll make their mistakes, but if they can cut their mistakes down as they get deeper into this playoff run, they'll be pretty tough to beat.
Class 4A, 7:00 kickoff tomorrow night. The Coalers, Coal City host U-High. Guys, this is going to be a good ball game.
Yeah, again, I like Coal City here simply because of the ground game with their excellent running back, and they throw enough to keep the defense off balance a little bit. And defensively, other than really the hiccup with Wilmington, they've really done a great job defensively all year.
A lot of turf teams coming out of that U-High conference. U-High also plays on turf. They don't play on the real stuff. That, especially if we get some of the rain that you're talking about, can make things very interesting.
Yes.
Dewey, the Tone, they're on the road. They're a 9 seed. They take on Chicago Crane. The good news about this is, looks like the Tone most likely we get a home game in the second round.
Yeah, Tully and the boys just play good Piatone football, eliminate mistakes, don't get in the concern of playing in the city, and don't fall apart. They should be in good shape.
And finally, in Class 2A, Wilmington gets the home game. They are hosting Aledo Mercer County. That's a 5 versus 12 seed, guys. And by the way, we're going to have Matt Lang on in the 7 o'clock hour. I guarantee you one of the main things we're going to talk about is how incredibly stacked the North bracket in 2A is. Guys, it is bordering on ridiculous if you haven't noticed. How is, guys, Dewey, you know this state pretty well. Can you tell me how Decatur is in the North?
I don't know. And guys, I remember a lot of things from Saturday night, but I remember with Coach Reentz when we were going through this, and he's like, whoa, you got all these 9-0 teams on the one side, and probably won't have a ton of problems this week, but it's going to be a gauntlet to get through that thing.
Right. I'm sorry, Edge, but if they win this game, they're going to probably most likely play Tri-Valley, who beat them.
They know very well.
They do very well. And then I look at the quarterfinals with a possible matchup with Seneca.
Oh, and that would break no one's heart in Wilmington. Trust me.
Oh, it would not.
They want that one. But again, guys, and Matt and I, I'll share a little bit on our podcast. We broke this down a little bit, and I don't know what they were looking at, if they were looking at anything when they did this at IHSA. Quite honestly, because it makes literally no sense. You have 9-0 Maroa Foresight in the North. So if you want to balance this out, which we've heard all the time, that sometimes they will move teams to balance out, and I'm putting the air quotes for you watching, competitive balance to make it a little bit smoother. That obviously didn't happen here at all. So I would love to know from someone. We'll talk to Seuss. I bet Seuss might have a little insight on that as well, if that was brought up at all and discussed by anyone in IHSA. But guys, it's crazy.
Bracket, again, Matt knows more about this, and when we talk to Matt and we talk to Seuss.
Joe, it's a lot easier of a path.
There's nobody down there.
No. So we'll see. But all right, well, that's the area. And again, you got a number, boys? How many get through? Dewey, you got a number?
14.
So 14 teams we have.
Let's see.
7.
Look at the boys. I love watching the boys doing math.
3, 4, 5, 6.
I can see the smoke coming off the telephone line with Dewey right now.
I got 10.
10?
Yep.
All right. Dewey?
7.
I'll go middle ground. I'll go 9. I think 9 will get through. But it'll be interesting. Guys, your level of confidence right now, mine is not incredibly high.
No, but if things have to go correctly to get my 10 for sure.
Yeah. Dewey, your thoughts overall?
I mean, you look at East Lincoln Way, you look at Wilmington, you look at Morris. To me, they're in that top, and everybody else is going to have to play good football.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I totally agree with you.
All right, Dewey, we appreciate it.
Let me give you 2 things, guys. Let me give you an idea I have.
Yes.
I've thought about this. You look at all the sports, they've all done things to improve, like even the NBA with the plan. What I'd like to see the IHSA do, just to make it exciting next year, is when the brackets come out Saturday night and you're a higher seed, you have till Monday morning to decide if you want to go on the road first.
Never happened. Next. No. What's your other idea?
Happen.
Well, I'm just saying.
I know you are. I've had
a lot to it.
I've had these discussions with coaches. There's reasons why they wouldn't go for it.
I don't think you'd want to. I mean, again, that's a great idea. But if you're a coach of a 9-0 team playing a 6-3 Catholic League team, I don't know if you want to play them on the road and lose. You might not have a job.
Dewey, what's your other one, real quick, before we go?
The only other thing I was going to say is I'm hearing a lot of feedback about Mr. Daniel reading the brackets Saturday night positively.
Well, maybe we'll just fire you and we'll hire him. I'm sure he works
like
cheaper.
I said, Daniel knows what he's doing.
There you go.
Thanks, Dewey.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, Dave Dwyer joins us from 1340 WJOL. We're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll go out to the phone lines. The Seuss man cometh. Seuss Tober. Steve Susie joins us. We'll continue to talk IHSA playoffs. You are listening to the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports.
Hi, this is State Farm Agent John Wright. Every team knows the 2-point play can be a winning move. That's why I can help you go for two by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score savings by combining your home and auto with me, State Farm Agent John Wright. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, John Wright, at 815-725-5052 today.
If you dread bra shopping, I've got a tip for you. Come see the friendly team at Elegance Underneath, and we'll take all that stress out of a bra fitting. I'm Dawn Coletta, the owner of Elegance Underneath. For 15 years, we've been serving women of all shapes and sizes who just want a great fitting, beautiful, comfortable bra. And Elegance Underneath True Fit Fitting will change the way you look and feel in your clothes. Elegance Underneath offers the best fitting bras in all shapes, styles, colors, and sizes, but specialize in double D cup and above in the highest quality brands. We have a fabulous selection of the latest bra fashions, and we also offer a selection of shapewear panties and more. New customers always enjoy a discount on all full price merchandise and no appointment needed. Like Elegance Underneath on Facebook, and come see us at Route 59 and 95th Street in Naperville.
Hi, I'm Christy Lister from M&M Mortgage, a division of M&M Bank. M&M Mortgage serves Joliet and the surrounding communities as your big bank alternative. Our friendly staff is ready to serve you at our 4 local branches for all your banking needs, especially mortgage services. With Google at your fingertips, it's easier than ever for home buyers to research mortgage options and interest rates. But internet misinformation is real, and Google is no substitute for a conversation with an experienced lender like myself and the team at M&M Mortgage. If you need financing for a new purchase, a home equity line of credit, a refinance, or a loan to purchase investment properties, we welcome your questions. Let the M&M Mortgage team guide you through a worry-free lending process. Call me, Christy Lister, at 815-955-9970, 815-955-9970. Christy Lister, NMLS 1117253, M&M Mortgage, a division of M&M Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we have represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
In your car, at home, on the job, AM radio has more than 80 million listeners each month. For more than a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. Visit wearebroadcasters.com and tell us how you depend on AM.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Pigskin Preview with EDGYTIM on 1340 WJOL.
Enjoy that commercial. We're getting rid of that one for next year because there's a certain
machine here.
Something over here should be in that, and he's not. It makes me not happy. Welcome back. A round one edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM along with the coach, Joe Rodriguero, Evan Bredesen. This edition, every edition of Pigskin Preview brought to you by State Farm Agents John Wright and Joliet and Kevin Malloy in New Lenox. And Joe, like a good neighbor,
State Farm is there.
And Joe,
yes,
like
sir.
a good football analyst, Steve Susie is there for us.
I just want to know if he has his wizard cap on tonight.
Yeah, do we still have the wizard cap, or did we get rid of that?
Well, the wizardry has already been resolved, so that would be
no more magic for you for a while. So
yeah,
I've seen some of your picks this week. Obviously, the magic is fading, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Do we start in 2A North Bracket? Is that a good place to start criticizing, or
as good as any? I mean,
just explain to me Merle Forsyth, please.
Well, I mean, by the letter of the law of the map, it's where they belong. But if this isn't an argument for 1 to 32, I don't know what is.
100%.
You are exactly right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you look at the potential path for Wilmington, and I've learned over the years I never bet against a Wilmington team in the postseason.
Right.
But for them to get to Northern, they've got to go through a traditional power in the first round and potentially 3 undefeated teams just to get to normal, including one that beat them back in week 1. So seems like a ridiculous path to ask anyone to have to take, but what do I know?
So I know Dew is throwing around some ideas, Joe. How about this? How about we get like the NCAA tournament where we get maybe Craig Anderson or Sam Knox on the pairing show, and maybe a couple of journalists can ask him questions like this one?
Yeah.
Steve, you think that would fly?
Probably not.
Nope.
But
nope.
Yeah, it was one of those things as I was watching the 2A development of the bracket. It was almost kind of what I feared from like week 7 on, was that we were going to get, an overload of those undefeated teams in the top of the bracket. And people in the past have talked about, how they used to bracket balance a little bit in situations
Well, that's
like
what
this.
we talked about, the competitive balance, I believe it was called.
Yeah. And the only problem that I had with that at the time is that it didn't seem like it was applied equitably.
Right.
Like it would just pop up out of nowhere and the justification would be bracket balance. Well, if you're going to do it for this bracket, then why wouldn't you do it for that bracket? So I would be for something like that if it was a concrete policy on that, instead of it just kind of randomly appearing at whim, because it certainly appears like it needs to be here. And all I want to do now is like, I want that 1 to 32 conversation to start up, and anybody would say, well, it's not a big problem, and then show them that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as good a justification as any you're going to find.
Well, it sounds like they approach that the same way they approach 1 through 32. We're going to do it, and then all of a sudden we just stopped. We didn't do it anymore. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
What else stood out from you on pairings night?
There were quite a few things that, like, I guess after looking at it after the fact, don't bother me as much as they did before, but there are it seems like there are a lot of first round games that don't feel like they should be first round games. And some of that, I think, comes down to the records that we had. Some of the teams that maybe were accustomed to doing a little bit better, or in some cases a little bit worse, that led to these games. But, I know how the numbers work as well as anybody does, but Joliet, Catholic, and Peoria doesn't feel like a first round game to me.
No, not at all. That was the first thing I thought of when that popped up.
And this, for me, it's one of those things that comes down to one of my logistical argument problems that I always have with the way that it's done. I'm okay with you if you want to use, your schedule's, playoff points to establish who gets in the field. But when you seed it, I actually want you to use the second stage. Give me the playoff points of the teams you beat. That's what I'm interested in when you're actually seeding this thing. And I think that would correct a lot of these problems.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm going to go to 5A, Seuss. Yeah. That bottom bracket with Morris, Springfield Sacred Heart, Peoria, Joliet Catholic Course, and Morton, and in Providence. If Joliet Catholic gets, by their game, they'll play a traditional power, possibly in Muhammad Seymour. And, Morris could be lurking in the quarterfinals, where Providence, if they can get by this game, Hillcrest, is never know what to do. And of course, Decatur MacArthur, but Providence looks like they have a little bit easier path getting to the quarterfinals than, let's say, Joliet Catholic and Morris in our area.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Ed, you're going to let them get away with not even mentioning TF North at all in that conversation?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. I'm not even picking my alma mater to win. So there you go.
I am.
Yeah, but it's definitely something that you have to take into account when you're looking at that bracket, that, if Providence plays up to its capabilities, I think the path is a little bit smoother for them.
Yes.
Morton's kind of an interesting story this week. Kind of came out of nowhere with a first-year coach this year, and got on the radar early with a couple of nice non-conference wins. And I'm like, hey, what are these guys all about? And then Noticed them kind of just driving through that Mid-Illini Conference. So I don't know if we want to quite dismiss them from this game against Providence this week. It is a 2-15 game after all.
And that's what I said. If Providence can get by this game, they've got a little bit easier path to get to that quarterfinal. But this is going to be a marquee game without a doubt.
Yeah. So, I think we have to look at that to begin with. But, if they can figure out a way to piece together a little bit more offense over the next, however long they last in this thing, yeah, I think the path definitely is a situation that's a little bit better for them. And, going back to Morris that you mentioned there a little bit at the beginning, it's kind of funny how these things all break down. I mean, Morris ended up being in the 5A field as the smallest school. And then you kind of look up at that 4A field and think to yourself, well, what would it have been if they would have snuck in there? And it's interesting. I'll put it that way. But I think, and I talked to Coach Thorson a little bit about this, I think like he feels like, hey, we can play here. It's not about trying to avoid playing in 5A. We think we can win at that level too. And I think they can as well, but it's definitely a slippery slope. And then when you compare it to the north side of the bracket, which I feel like is a little way thinner, yes. It's once again another time where I would really like it to, especially I'll bang the drum for all 8 classes, but in 5 and 6, I don't know why we're not doing 1 to 32 because there are some geographical messes in this classification. Tell me how Calumet City to Springfield is the correct geographical bracketing of teams. And
Hillcrest,
I'll hang up and listen.
Hillcrest and Carbondale.
Yeah.
So it's, and I know, but it's just the way that those classes are built. There simply are not enough Southern teams in 5 and 6A to justify having a Southern bracket.
I tell you what, though, if you're in 6A, it is good to be in the North.
Yes, it is. It is. There's no doubt about that because, we know what was going on there and, in regards to that. And I saw Lamont getting paired with East St. Louis about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And felt like that was the way we were going. But, the definite strength in 6A is in the bottom of that bracket. And, the top has, a couple of good football teams, but
not a lot of speed bumps in that road, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's banging the drum again. Let's line them all up 1 to 32, please.
Kankakee and potentially East St. Louis is a game that really should not be a quarterfinal.
Yeah, and all along, we knew they were going to both be on the south side of the bracket, but the hope was that maybe that at least they'd end up on the opposite sides of the south bracket. And it was kind of looking like it was going to go that way until East St. Louis was granted that week 9 forfeit. It kind of looked like they were going to be on the separate sides of the bracket. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, I think that's going to move them up to the 4. And that's exactly what it did. So, in a roundabout way, yeah, you're right. I think that's one of those games. I think that if it does materialize in the quarterfinals, as I think a lot of people expect it to, including myself, you're coming away from that one going, the next couple of rounds will have a hard time topping that one in the potential of both skill and probably the way that game comes out.
All right, buddy, we got to wrap it up. We're up against 7 o'clock hour. Real quick, is there a better game opening round than Bradley and St. Charles North?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's
that's 2 interesting quarterbacks leading those offenses. I'm going to go down to Providence and watch that Saturday afternoon game. And I might be questioning the laws of physics and trying to get up and catch the second half of that one on the way home. That's an intriguing game, and I think it's one of those. If I had to pick 3 or 4 games this weekend that I'd really like to see, that's definitely one of them.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes, thanks, Zeus.
All right, we'll talk soon. Bye.
All right, bye.
Steve Susie joins us. You are listening to the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk Sports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after ABC News.
Your home for Will County's news, talk, and sports. We're 1340 WJOL. The Ramsey Show.
If you got $750, Joe Biden wants to know it.
Dave, you're stupid and arrogant.
Not sure where you went to school for your math class, but you failed. You people in corporate America are idiots. You're just dumb. But I think we're confused as to who's arrogant on this call, brother.
I've got a book suggestion for Chris. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a classic. You should read it.
The Ramsey Show, weeknights at 6, here on 1340 WJOL.
From the Abreen Credit Union Studio, this is Will County's News Talk Sports, WJOL, Joliet.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Many armored police vehicles are lining the road near a house in Bowdoin, Maine, believed to be a home of the suspected mass shooter who killed and injured last night in Lewiston, Maine. With a live update from Lewiston, ABC's Derek Dennis.
Hey, Chuck, I'm here outside the city's main hospital, but all the action is in the neighboring community of Bowdoin, just to the east, where law enforcement has that house surrounded, as you said, believed to be the home of murder suspect Robert Card. We've got an ABC News team there, and they can hear police negotiators telling Card to come out. We don't want to hurt anybody. Please come outside, follow instructions, and walk to the truck in the driveway, and that his safety can be assured. What's not clear is whether Card has or is responding, or if he's even in the house, alive or dead. ABC News confirms a suicide note has been found at the home, sir, and they're investigating that. We're past the 24-hour mark from this deadly mass shooting. 18 people killed, 13 wounded, some gravely. Robert Card, an Army reservist with access to guns and a history of mental illness and erratic behavior, wanted for multiple counts of murder and believed to be holed up in his own home, surrounded by police as this community remains on an extended shelter-in-place order. If anything happens, Chuck, you'll hear it here. Derek Dennis, ABC News, live in Lewiston, Maine.
Families of hostages taken from Israel by Hamas are in Washington calling for the safe return of their loved ones.
We demand not only the U.S., but all of the international community put at its highest agenda, number one agenda, bringing the hostages back home now.
Ruby Kren's 19-year-old son from New York is thought to be one of the over 200 people kidnapped by Hamas. A Chinese fighter pilot nearly crashed into an American bomber over the South China Sea, according to the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command. You're listening to ABC News.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CAR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CAR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CAR.
Toyota is recalling about 751,000 large SUVs in the U.S. to fix a problem with the tabs that hold front bumper covers on. The Biden administration announcing a new military aid package for Ukraine.
We announced another package of security assistance, which includes air defense capabilities, Javelin anti-tank missiles, more artillery ammunition, and more ammunition for the high mobility artillery rocket system, otherwise known as HIMARS.
National Security spokesman John Kirby says the supplies were authorized under previously directed drawdowns for Ukraine. Democrat Jamal Bowman has entered a guilty plea in D.C. court as part of a deal that includes a $1,000 fine and an apology.
Congressman Jamal Bowman's court appearance dates back to September 30th, when prosecutors say he knowingly pulled a fire alarm at a congressional office building. Bowman admitted to doing so in a statement, saying he'll pay the fine issued and looks forward to the charges being dropped. Court records allege Bowman told Capitol Police he didn't tell anyone he pulled the alarm because he didn't want to miss a government funding vote. On Capitol Hill, Michigan Republican Lisa McClain introduced a measure to censure Bowman and strip him of his committee assignments. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
And on Wall Street, it was a down day for the major indexes. This is ABC News.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
Hi, this is State Farm Agent John Wright. Every team knows the two-point play can be a winning move. That's why I can help you go for two by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score savings by combining your home and auto with me, State Farm Agent John Wright. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, John Wright, at 815-725-5052 today.
To remind everyone that there is no health without mental health, Racing for Mental Health is hosting a 5K tune-up run walk and kids fun run on Sunday, November 5th at the beautiful Audubon Country Club in Joliet. The 5K run walk will be held on the premier high-performance, 40-foot wide smooth racetrack. This unique running venue will make it a very enjoyable 5K experience for both runners and walkers. For more information and to register, go to racingformentalhealth.com.
Are you looking to store your precious toy indoor this season? Store your boats, RVs, motorhomes, cars, trucks, trailers, and more with secure indoor storage and concrete floors right in Joliet. For more information, call Karen today at 815-549-6725 and ask about early bird specials of only $7 per foot while inventory lasts. 815-549-6725. Again, call Karen at 815-549-6725.
Now's the perfect time to get rid of that junk car. Joliet U-Pull-It wants it and will offer you free same-day pickup and the highest price in the area guaranteed. Plus, they're paying top dollar for all of your scrap metal. Come dig into Joliet U-Pull-It's expanded yard with over 1,300 foreign and domestic vehicles to choose from and no entry fee. Get parts, get paid, or get both at Joliet U-Pull-It. Located 3/4 of a mile west of Briggs Street on Washington, next to the railroad tracks, or go to JolietUPullIt.com. Joliet U-Pull-It, the way to save.
1340 WJOL presents Tim Kerpen's House Talk, Thursday afternoons at 12:15, hosted by the owner of Kerpen Inspections, Tim Kerpen. There is so much you can do around the house, and each week, Tim will give you the ins and outs on how to make your home the best it can be and keep your energy bills down. If you're a business and would like to advertise or be featured on the show, call 708-935-3050. Tim Kerpen's House Talk, Thursday at 12:15 on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
There's a whole lot of savings going on now at Staples. During Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $150 on select office and desk chairs. And when you buy a chair, you save 25% on desks, storage solutions, and office accessories. Plus, your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. And when you return an Amazon order at Staples, you receive a coupon for $10 off your next $30 Staples purchase. Now is definitely the time to save at Staples. Chair offer ends 10/28. In-store only. Exclusions apply on Amazon offer.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is hour number 2 of the round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL. Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM along with the coach, Joe Rodriguero and Evan Bredesen. This edition and every edition of Pigskin Preview brought to you by State Farm agents John Wright in Joliet and Kevin Malloy in New Lenox. Like a good neighbor, Joe.
State Farm is there.
Broadcast schedule is as follows. Friday, 6:05, Friday Night Lights, the pregame show with Evan, and 7 o'clock kickoff in Class 8A, Joliet West hosting St. Ignatius. That is our broadcast schedule for this week. And Joe got all kinds of good games all over the place, and certainly one down in Peoria Friday night as Joliet Catholic will load up the Yellow Rockets and head south down to lovely Peoria and renovated Peoria Stadium. And joining us on the phone right now is the head man in charge of Joliet Catholic, Jake Jaworski. Jaws, thanks for joining us. I know it's a busy time for sure.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Well, glad to have you aboard. So my thought and question is was there things to take away from Friday that you try to correct, or do you just flush it and move forward?
From a film standpoint, yeah, you try to flush it, but, from a technique standpoint, fundamental stuff, kind of got back to the basics a little bit this week. But, it's you lose, you learn, and that was kind of what we preached, after the game and at the beginning of the week, because if we experience those, tomorrow night, that it ends your season.
We know, Jaws, from the game on Friday night, turnovers, the fumbles, and the penalties and that. And I think a key to the game tomorrow night, and one of the keys, in my opinion, is that once you guys get inside the red zone, 25, 20-yard line, score touchdowns rather than kick field goals.
Oh, yeah. Field goals aren't going to win the game tomorrow. It's going to be touchdowns. And, that's, something we got to work on, and we got to improve. Our kicker, Patrick Durkin, is a weapon.
Yeah, right.
Tomorrow night, yeah, it's definitely going to be about scoring touchdowns.
So I had a chance to see Peoria earlier in the year when they played Normal, and again, the thing that always surprises me, you see their scores and you automatically just make the assumption that they're 5 wide and chucking it all over the field. That they're the complete opposite from what I saw. They obviously want to go a bit more up tempo, but they look to run the ball. Big offensive line, and Jaws, once again, they're one of those schools that just seems to be able to find skill kids year in and year out.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're kind of like, most schools, if you can run the ball and have success, it eliminates some of those negative plays that might come through the air, and throwing the ball. But yeah, they got big offensive line, and, they got a short, kind of stockier, powerful runner at the running back spot. That it's tough to tackle. He gets downhill behind that line. But, hopefully, I think, kind of our strength, on defense is that front seven. So hopefully we can slow down that running game and force them to throw the ball, which, they're very good at that too. They got some lanky receivers out on the edge that can really go up and get it and make some plays. But, we got to be able to stop the run first for sure.
I think just watching them on film and talking to Edgy about them, you can't let them get ahead by too many.
No. They're they try to create chaos in all three, put pressure on you in all three facets of the game. But, for sure, it's a team that they don't kick extra points. They go for, 2-point conversions every time. And, once you see it on the film, once they get going, they get a lead, it might be, 2 possessions or whatever, but next thing you know, they're up 16, and then it's, not only two scores, it's 2 scores and 2-point conversions, so yeah, definitely, we gotta, we gotta limit their possessions, and, we gotta take care of the football. We can't give them any extra possessions. They do like to onside kick it as well. So we got to be very good in all 3 phases of the game and kind of withstand their pressure that they're going to put on you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, the first thought is, I think it was our first thought, I bet they're practicing onside kicks. Well, Jaws, I get the feeling you're practicing on onside kicks all the time, but I got to imagine a little bit more emphasis on it this week.
Yeah, for sure. We started practicing it on Monday and practicing pretty much every single day, this week, just whether it was an individual, guys fielding balls and, working the hands team, the hands team being out there, right from the get-go, every single kickoff and kind of expecting it, and, putting a group out there that, they want to be in those situations. They want the ball kicked to them. So, we've been practicing kind of all the time this week.
And again, you recover those onside kicks. Of course, you're going to get great field position. And that's, I think it plays into your hands a little bit too, where you can take the ball and eat up some of the clock and score touchdowns where you have great field position right off the bat.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of one of the big things. As long as you recover those kicks, you're going to be starting with the ball midfield. You only got to go halfway. Right. Halfway, once your percentages of scoring go up dramatically, by field position like that.
Well, I know that Peoria is going to want to throw a handful of things at you. That's kind of how Tim Thornton does it and how they play. But what I know about Joliet Catholic is I'm sure there's 1 or 2 things that maybe they're not going to expect either. And you don't have to give us your playbook because, let's face it, no one listens to us anyway. But I got to imagine, there might be a tweak or 2 here you might have in store for Friday.
Yeah, we got a few wrinkles. Obviously not going to let the cat out of the bag, but, some things we've been practicing, some things to switch things up. They're primarily, man across the board and, Heck, sometimes you'll see 11 across the line of scrimmage, kind of looks like a punt rush, so we got to be able to do some different things and create some angles and mismatches and whatnot. So, we'll have a thing or two, hopefully that, we can execute and give us an advantage there.
I know you were asked quite a bit about the 6'6", 290-pound running back last week. You've got some big boys yourself there, and you have an incredible athlete in Dylan Johnson. Jaws, my take from that is, in a one-off situation, sure, go for it. Boy, but more than that, as a coach, isn't that kind of a double-edged sword too, a little bit? Because let's face it, you got a great athlete like that. Aren't you kind of almost like putting him in an uncomfortable situation, having to do that at times?
As far as putting him at the running back spot?
Yeah, just injury
honestly,
possibly, and just.
Well, yeah, I guess, because I think he had been hobbled a little bit, throughout the year or whatever. But, when he was a freshman, that would have been during the spring COVID season. We had Ignatius on the schedule, and actually on the freshman level, he was their fullback. Wow. And at that point he was probably 6'3", 6'4", 240 pounds,
yeah.
So it's not like you're, it's a kid that had experience doing it,
Yep.
So
and he's a tremendous athlete. There's no doubt.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. He didn't look like a 6'6", 200 or a 315-pound kid running the ball. That's for sure. Yeah. When he got going downhill, it's tough to stop with one guy, and when you're playing, assignment football, and whatnot, he had a couple nice runs, but we also had a couple runs where we had guys on him, 2 yards in the backfield, and it still ended up being a 5-yard gain, but I guess at this point, in the year, you got to do what you got to do to win. And they thought that gave them a little bit of an advantage the other night. So kudos to them.
Yeah. Well, again, it all started.
I was giving Coach Miller a hard time at our conference meeting on Sunday, though, that I better see him running the ball in the playoffs, and he just didn't do that against us.
Well, again, Jaws, always appreciate your time and best of luck, and go get it and go get a win, and hopefully bring back a home game in round 2. And again, just best of luck, my friend.
Yes. Good luck, Jaws.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Right,
you bet. Jake Jaworski joins us from Joliet Catholic Academy. Joe, do you know what I was trying to get to with Scott? Meaning,
you're right.
As a one-off, it's cool, but man, I don't, to do that as more of a longer-term thing, I think you're pushing luck a little bit.
Well, when you're running the football and you're that big, the only way you're going to bring that guy down is from the knees down.
Right.
And, that's where you would get an ankle or
that's what I mean.
Or whatever.
Right.
And like Joe said, he was hobbled for a few games this year. So, no, I see exactly where you're going with that, of course. And you just don't want that guy. To me, he was more valuable to them running the football in spots last week against Joliet Catholic. But to me,
and all the credit in the world to Matt Miller.
Yeah. Oh, no, I definitely agree. But you'd like to see that guy. Here you go, Evan, when you're on the goal line. And he's tough to tackle, but I'd like to run behind that guy if I'm a running back inside the 5-yard line, because he's going to pave the way for you without a doubt.
It feels like one of those things that you can do it for a week or two, but it reminds me about a decade ago when the Miami Dolphins started running the Wildcat in the NFL, and everyone's like, everyone's got to do this. Yep. And then after about half a season, once teams got some tape on it, all of a sudden the Wildcat wasn't running the NFL the year after that. And it was kind of a 1-2 year fad, because once teams collected tape and figured out how to properly attack it, the next adjustment couldn't come. What's the next adjustment with a guy that big running the football that much? What do you do after that to adjust? It kind of feels like, you can do it in spots, but if you try to make that your offense, it feels like as you get deeper into the playoffs, and let's be honest, you get deeper into the playoffs, not just the players are better, you're facing better coaching too.
Yes.
Someone's got to find a counter for it.
Yep, no doubt.
Remember Christian Okoye?
Yep.
That's what that reminds me of. I think this young man is bigger than Okoye, but he was hurt a lot. He was a big man, tailback for the Kansas City Chiefs, but he was hurt an awful lot.
Coach Joe, you remember some guy named Refrigerator Perry from the
That's
1985 Chicago Bear championship games?
Yeah, I think we're going to see him Friday night, in a mirror image of him on Friday night, tomorrow night.
No doubt about it. Again, just wish JCA the best luck. Tough game, no doubt.
Yeah,
Should be a good one.
One of my marquee games.
Should be a good
First
one for
round.
sure. So we're going to step aside and take a break. Evan, I'm sorry. Did you have something?
I was just going to ask with Peoria with the onside kicks.
Yes.
It is part of that, especially with an offense like Joliet Catholic. If I kick it deep and they get it at the 20, they can go 80 yards in 18 plays and take 9 minutes off the clock.
Big part of it.
Rather give it to them at my own 40 and say, you know what, go 40 yards instead of 80 and do it in half the time so I can get the ball back.
Tim will talk about it. He'll tell you about it. That's part of the thinking as well, and that and the fact that he just likes his offense getting as many touches as possible.
They're going to come
They
right
just
back
want
and
it
score
because
on
they're going to score on you.
you. Yep.
That's the mentality.
Yes.
Wow.
And then again, something Joe's going to get very, very familiar with, analytics. You got a lot of homework ahead of you, Joe.
Boy, oh
Well,
boy.
that's the new segment next week, right?
Yes.
Joe's Analytics
Joe's
Corner.
Analytics.
As soon as we do our last show, I'm going to hit it hard.
Yep. Yeah, I bet you are. All right, we'll step aside and take a break. You are listening to the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Do you have ugly countertops? You need new granite or quartz countertops. There's only one place to get them. They're affordable, fast, have great customer care, and the quality is perfect. That place is Surface Solutions in Mokina, right off Interstate 80 and LaGrange Road. Surface Solutions was voted best place to buy granite or quartz by Southland's Best. So don't live with ugly countertops. Come look, touch, and feel tons of samples, including over 70 slabs on display and hundreds of discounted remnants to choose from right in Mokina. Don't settle for the other guy's back pocket samples. Come see the full slab difference. Surface Solutions will measure, fabricate, and install your new countertops in no time. Surface Solutions, voted best place to buy granite or quartz by Southland's Best. Located near 194th and LaGrange Road in Mokina, just off I-80. For information, go to surfacesolutionsIL.com. That's surfacesolutionsIL.com. Stop living with ugly countertops.
Gifts to places like Morningstar Mission go up during the holidays, which is great. But Thanksgiving isn't until next month, and men, women, and children living on the streets of Joliet and Will County are hungry now.
To miss a week and a half to 2 weeks of food is horrible. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. Not only that, knowing that you might have to go to a dumpster or some other place that people are throwing out food, just mentally, that brings you down even more.
And they're quickly running out of hope.
I was getting to the point where I thought that was it. I'm going to go ahead and just lay here and die.
It's never too early to give life-saving meals, shelter, care, and hope to our homeless neighbors in Joliet. And each life-changing meal is possible with your gift of just $2.48.
That first meal, the sensation in my body was like, whoa, wow, there is hope.
Don't wait until the holidays. Give today at MorningstarMission.org. That's MorningstarMission.org.
Pigskin Preview with EDGYTIM on 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL. Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM along with the coach, Joe Rodriguero, and Evan Bredesen. I want to thank everyone watching on YouTube Live and checking out the show and giving us a listen. We are hopefully going to connect with Joe, the Chicago Bears High School Coach of the Week for Week 9, the one and only Dan Tito. So again, very excited for Dan.
Finally got one from our area.
Finally got a winner.
Yes.
So I don't know if he realizes this or not, but he's in line to take over the head coaching job.
Good.
Yeah. So
you got a lot of candidates.
You win the Chicago Bears Coach of the Week. You get into a pool of 8 other candidates, and one of the 9 will get picked to take over the team after midseason. So we're looking forward to maybe Dan Tito being your new head coach.
He wants right now.
Being the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. I won't put that kind of pressure on him. We'll bring him in now. Joining us, head coach Dan Tito of Joliet West. You didn't know it came with those perks, did you?
I was blown away by the generosity of the Bears. Obviously, thank you to the panel. And EDGYTIM, obviously, you're on that panel. Thank you guys for for the recognition and obviously the good attention it brings to our program and all the great things our kids are doing.
Yeah, it's a really neat program. If people aren't aware of it, every week the Bears select a player, basically a statewide player and a coach, and it's more than just performance. It's off the field activities and what you're involved with, Joe. And again, they put a nice donation. I believe your athletic department is what they do. It's a couple $1,000 donation, and there's some perks too. You get to go to a game.
Yes.
Yeah, I get to go to like a luncheon on the 8th. I get to watch some practice. Get to go to a game on December 10th, and I'm a lifelong Bears fan. My entire life. So, I mean, this, personally, it's an awesome experience.
And if they need a coach or one of 9, they can choose from now.
Yeah.
So
that's right. You know what? They offer me a couple million. I'll coach wherever they need me to coach.
Oh boy. Better tell Millsaps you're on the market. Look out.
Oh, but Dan, congratulations. And again, to your team,
thank you.
There was a guy here last year in our last show that gave gifts out to all the area coaches, and the gift that he gave you at Joliet West was a playoff berth. So he delivered. He delivered for you. And,
he delivered
and got you that playoff berth, and you're going up against a St. Ignatius team who just up the road they handled Joliet Catholic pretty well, and all about that team. And thank you for the stats and the starters and that. I do really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I think a guy that is going to be vital tomorrow night for you is Keyshawn Wiley in the middle, because if they have that big horse in the middle to control the option attack,
got to get the fullback. Got to stop the fullback.
You got to stop that fullback, no matter if it's him or not. I mean, you've got to have him. And I know he's been a very good player for you all year, but he's really got to play a very good game tomorrow night.
You're absolutely right. 40% of St. Ignatius plays have been triple option, with many of those going straight to the dive back, regardless of who's in the backfield. And it's not just the backfield; their offensive line, they fire really well. We talked about all week, and we've had a great week of practice. I think this has been the week of practice with the most intention and focus. And we talked assignment football. We talked just how fast you're going to get off the ball. They do a great job getting back in love with the linebackers. But yeah, Keyshawn's been having huge games all year. He's got, I think, 76.5 total tackles on the season, and 37 of those are for loss, which is just a mind-boggling stat. I had to double check with our defensive line coach the stat, like, is this real? He's like, yeah. I'm like, wow. Which, if you've seen it in our games, he's not 18. He's always tearing it up in there, and brings a great energy. He's one of the most energetic kids in practice. And yeah, he's going to be a big component to us, trying to take away triple option, trying to take away the dive.
How did you approach this week? Did you approach it like a regular work week? And how do you keep the kids in check and not getting too hyper overworked or not excited enough, trying to find that right sweet spot to get your kids ready to go into that game tomorrow night?
I think it's obviously a different week, right? A lot of teams on the schedule, we're familiar with. Obviously our conference games we're familiar with. we're familiar with the crossovers. We're familiar with Morris. Shepherd was different, but we had a whole off season to kind of prep for Shepherd. Where this week it was, hey, this time last week we didn't know who we were playing, and so that means it's kind of taken away any like personal attachments or inclinations we have about a team. This week it's really been about a process, and we've kind of leaned in heavily. We pulled up some sophomores that were able to serve us very well on scout team. A couple of them might have the opportunity to play in the game tomorrow. But it's really, we're at the point of the season where we need to just our best practices. We need to take care of what, needs to be taken care of. And that's kind of, what it is. Like I said, it's a team that we have not seen. I believe the last time it was actually JT back then. We saw him in 2008. Which I think these kids were like 3 or 4 years old back then, but, with no attachments or anything like that, it's, cause obviously when you go against teams like, okay, they run this or it's run against in the past, where Second Nation to us is a total unknown. So it's more just, let's focus on ourselves. Let's focus on what we do well. Let's focus on, preparing, for what we see on film.
Talking about the things that you do well, and we've talked about Juan Rico and Parker Schwarting when we talked to you the other time on the show. A guy that really impresses me, he's a kind of guy that does whatever is asked him to do in any type of offensive formation. That's Gavin Garcia. He runs the ball very well. He's got surprising speed, in my opinion, for his size. Mm-hmm. And not only can he catch the ball, but he can carry it for you too.
Oh yeah, he's been kind of our do everything guy. He's in a renaissance man. We've lined him up in the backfield. We've lined up in the slot. He's just got, he's just very good at all the skill sets we need. He's not afraid to block. And he's strong too. The kid is not afraid of contact. He's strong with his legs, keeps his leg going. Is able to catch the ball. Last week against Plainfield Central, he was able to, grab a couple deep balls, and a kid that just runs hard and is physical. He's a great wrestler. It's probably, helps with that skill set. But Gavin Garcia has just kind of been, steady and reliable, right? Parker's great. Parker's one of the best route runners.
Yes.
We've got the best route runner I've seen. Obviously, Juan's been great all year delivering the ball. But Gavin's kind of that do everything guy.
Right. What level of busy has this week been for you? Is this about as intense as it's gotten since you've been there?
It's been this week has flown by, to be honest with you. It's been really surreal. It's really a blur. And obviously, there's been other things going on. Being honored by the Bears yesterday. That was a privilege. We sat down today. We talked about our success and how it's important to thank the people in our lives for their success. We took some time to be appreciative of the loved ones we have in our lives. And it's just, like I said, it's been a blur, and having the ability to have all the coaches up. I'm very proud of the work our program has put in this week, both on the field, off the field, that, we're at the point where it's time to play the game. We're just, time to play the game and get ready for the results. So, and we think that we've done everything we can to have those results go in our favor.
Walk us through the schedule tomorrow, your day.
So, actually every single Thursday, and the kids always, give me a little ribbon about it, but every single Thursday I go over the itinerary with them. We talk about 7:00 in the morning. They're all waking up. They're, eating breakfast. They're getting showered, their teeth, putting on their black jerseys, go to school, focus on classes, drink water. And then after that, we talk about, our pregame athletic training things we do, getting treatment for them. We talk about, when we're going to do our mental imagery. We talk about when we're going to do, go to the field, special takes the field, team takes the field, then game time, 7:00. And, that's kind of what tomorrow is going to look like. A whole lot of waiting during school. But you know what? It's going to be an exciting time, 7 o'clock at Great Lewis Stadium.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right. Well, again, this is the 1340 WJOL Game of the Week. So if you're at the game, by all means, listen on the smartphone. If you're not able to make it to the game, you can listen to us. Again, 1340WJOL.com. You can get the Odyssey app and just listen to WJOL there. I highly recommend that if you're out of town. It's the best way to do it. Even Coach Joe sounds crystal clear on the Odyssey app. So, again, Dan, wish you the best of luck.
Good luck, Dan.
Looking forward to that smile on your face that won't leave for a while, and go out and get one. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. As always, guys, thank you guys for having me on and let me talk about our program.
Anytime.
You're welcome.
All right.
Good
Dan
luck.
Tito joins us from Joliet West. And, yeah, what a week for him, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think?
World win.
Unbelievable. A great, I mean, and again, I'm being honest. I've talked to people. I was at Thayer Brothers the other day having lunch, ran into Ricky Thayer and talk. And Ricky said, yeah, I think I might stop by and gonna go watch. You know, it's a big thing, and everyone agrees it's a big thing in this town. There's no doubt. It's
not, and again, it's a big thing because they haven't, been in the playoffs for a while, and a home playoff game since Tiger Way Kluwick probably, and it's just good. It's good for our area, to have them in it, and Dan has done a tremendous job in his 2 years, and it's why you play the game. I know a lot of people don't give them much of a chance, but you got to play the game.
Yep.
You just got to play the game.
100%. You have to.
They stay penalty free, turnover free, and not let them get ahead by too much. Got a chance.
Yeah, you gotta control the tempo as best you can tomorrow.
Without a doubt.
Again, so we thank Dan for joining us.
Yes.
And, we were doing a little confidence thing earlier before the show. So we said, okay, we got 14 teams in the area. And do a confidence pool 1 through 14. Now, you can never read my handwriting, so that'll give everyone watching on YouTube an idea of what we did. I think we all came pretty close.
Yes,
pretty close. And let's do top 14 through 8, and then we'll let everyone else figure out where we have them. So, all right, I'll start. So 14 being the team I have the most confidence from the area in winning versus working all the way down. You ready?
8. Okay.
I've got 14 Wilmington. 13 Lincoln Way East, 12 Morris, 11 The Tone, Go Tully Go.
Yes.
10 Lincoln Way West, 9 Providence, 8 Lincoln Way Central, and I'll throw in I got Manuka right after that at 7. Joe, what are yours?
I've got Lincoln Way East at 14.
Okay.
Morris at 13.
Okay.
Wilmington at 12.
So we're all relatively close.
Peatone 11.
Yep.
Lincoln Way Central 10.
Okay.
Manuka 9.
Okay.
Providence 8, and Lincoln Way West 7.
There you go. Evan?
Lincoln Way East at 14, 13 Wilmington, 12 Morris, 11 Peatone, 10 Lincoln Way Central. I have to just say very quickly, Lincoln Way Central, I'm still stunned at the number of people that are like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, what more would you have liked them to do with that schedule?
Exactly.
What more did you need them to do? Did you need them to beat East?
Yeah.
Is that literally what they had to do?
I kind of think so. Yeah, honestly.
It feels that way.
No respect.
9 Lincoln Way West, another one of those teams that the job that coaching staff's done this year, losing your starter.
Oh, look at what they did week 9.
And then in week 9.
Was that double overtime they won?
Unbelievable. So 9 Lincoln Way West, and then at 8 Coal City, and I have Manuka 7 as well.
There you
Lincoln
go.
Way Central won in double overtime. They beat Bradley in double overtime.
Right. I'm sorry. My bad. So
it's okay.
Yeah. There you go. So
there's something to be said, Coach, isn't there, about, especially when you get into the playoffs, about having played a game like that?
Oh,
a double overtime game or a close game.
A close game.
Because I know one of the things that people and we seem to be concerned about with Joliet West is not whether or not they're a talented team, but have the teams they've played this year properly prepared them for a playoff-like environment? Has that schedule prepared them for what the playoffs will be and the type of games you're going to need to play in the playoffs?
And the level of physicality, which is a big part of it as well.
To me, they're going to have to – it seems like other than even the Joliet Central game, Joliet Central was in the game till halftime. They seem to be a second-half team. if they wait until the second half tomorrow night,
they
could
might
be in
not
trouble.
get going. Yeah,
They've got to get going right away, right off the bat. The first time, whether it's on defense or off, they got to go right away.
I'm calling it because we're doing the game, so I'll make the prediction. They're going to onside kick in the first half.
Oh, maybe.
I think they're going to onside kick, fake punt. I think they're going to do something knowing they've got to try to limit possessions, control the football, but also, like you said, they need to make plays early.
Yes.
What can get a team engaged and make a play early than a special teams play when you're
just
supposed
hang
to
around.
lose the ball and flip it?
Just hang around.
Yep, just hang around long enough to give you a chance.
Yep.
That's all you need.
Make them have to do something they're not comfortable doing. And from what I know of Ignatius, it's going to be having to throw the ball downfield.
Yes.
So,
yep.
They're capable.
They are.
Don't get me wrong.
West has got some athletes in that secondary, though, that people, again, they haven't been tested, so people don't know they're there.
Micah McNair also has to come big tomorrow and have a big game. And he's been one of those handful of kids on the defensive side that have made some big plays for them. And if you've got one up your sleeve, Micah, tomorrow's the night to pull it out.
And I think another guy, kind of an unsung hero, is in my eyes, and not that because I know his dad real well, but Kale Karcheski, I think is a very good.
Whose dad don't you know? Seriously.
But I think
we all know Karch.
He's a very good player, and I think
he is.
He kind of flies.
He's
under the
a
radar.
player. I mean, he's a baller.
He is,
no doubt.
He is.
Little swagger.
Yep.
Little swagger. I like it. No doubt about it. So
Swagger's good though.
Fantastic.
Now and then.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
All right, we're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, small school talk. Matt Lang, the one and only,
master,
will join us. He's been probably waiting at home for 3 hours to hop on the line with us. We'll talk to him. We'll talk 4A and below. So you Wilmington fans, Coal City fans, Piatone fans, don't go anywhere. This is the week 10, round 1 edition, if you will, of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
Hi, I'm Christy Lister from M&M Mortgage, division of M&M Bank. M&M Mortgage services Joliet and the surrounding communities as your big bank alternative. Our friendly staff is ready to serve you at our 4 local branches for all your banking needs, especially mortgage services. If you're considering purchasing a new home, need a home equity line of credit, or want to refinance, your head may be spinning right now. Let the M&M Mortgage team guide you through their worry-free lending process. Block out the noise and have a conversation with our experienced team. We'll help you navigate this time of uncertainty with confidence. Our M&M Mortgage team is here to help you with any questions you have about borrowing for a purchase or a refinance. Call me, Christy Lister, to discuss your worry-free lending with M&M Mortgage, as well as our low down payment programs for home buyers. Call me, Christy Lister, at 815-955-9970 to find out more. That's 815-955-9970. Christy Lister, NMLS 1117253, M&M Mortgage, a division of M&M Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text ALL to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 42424. That's ALL to 42424.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Let's be honest. Insurance rates have skyrocketed over the last 18 months, and none of us are happy. This is State Farm agent Kevin Malloy, and I feel the same pain you do when the bill comes in the mail. When times are at their worst, people are looking for someone they can trust. And with 5 consecutive years of being named the best of Will County in the insurance category, why not consider calling the Malloy Agency? 815-463-5800. Like a good neighbor, we are and will be there when you need us.
When you have a rumble in your tummy, Jody's Hot Dogs in Joliet is your solution. Not only is Jody's Hot Dogs known for their famous hand-cut fries, but now Jody serves smash burgers too. What's a smash burger? Smash burgers are cooked-to-order Black Angus smashed to perfection quarter-pound burgers. How many patties can you eat? Jody's Hot Dogs and more, 326 Republic Avenue in Joliet. Catering and delivery available. Call 815-729-0251. Online at jodyshotdogs.com. That's jodyshotdogs.com.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the final lap of the Week 10 or Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. EDGYTIM along with the coach, Joe Rodriguero, Evan Bredesen, and joining us, gentlemen, you know him, you love him. He's our small school football analyst.
My guy.
Also the co-host of the ever popular and growing Third and Lang podcast, heard every week on EDGYTIM.com. The one, the only, Coach Matt Lang. Hello, sir.
Hey, guys. How we doing? How we doing?
Good. Glad to have you on. Unfortunately, Joe would not allow me to talk small school football on playoff pairing night at all. You hater, Joe.
Well, here's our guy.
Hater.
Here's our guy right
All
now.
right. So the first thing that we jumped on this evening, and we had Steve Susi on earlier, was 2A North. Your thoughts?
Well, we discussed this last night. This is a slobber knocker of a bracket. Last year we talked about 3A and how that was a meat grinder. Now it just went down a class, guys. In the North, you really have a bunch of heavyweights, and I think whoever comes out of there is going to be battered, bloodied, and bruised, and well-tested and ready for a state championship game. Will they be healthy? What's the weather going to be like? How are some of these elements going to impact these young kids? Because I'm telling you right now, you have literally the heavyweights going at it week in and week out. And it's kind of odd. It's kind of different. Nothing against 2A South, but 2A North right now is just flexing its muscles.
Well, and the biggest question mark of all is how in the world is Maroa in the North?
Yeah, well, I think we analyzed that. So to the listeners out there that maybe didn't hear our podcast last night, I think that was one of the. If you had to have 4 points of the playoffs, 1 through 4A. You could talk about how Rochester's up there. You're going to eventually maybe take on IC in a championship game. But I think one of the main points is Maroa. And Maroa being in the North, because we kind of felt like they were going to be somewhere to eventually, go to the state championship game. At least I think they would be. And I just, you just can't believe that they're just up there north with all those heavyweights with Wilmington, Tri-Valley, Bloomington, the list goes on and on and on, Seneca. Just a lot of great teams up there.
We talk about the teams like Seneca and Tri-Valley and Wilmington and Bloomington Central Catholic, but a couple teams that could be, you can't overlook is, in my opinion, Matt, in the North, is Taylor Rock Ridge and Bismarck. Those are two teams that are, they're 8-1, and Bismarck is 7-2, but they're kind of teams that could sneak up on you, couldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. We talked about this again last night. You got Guy Goodlove at Westville. He's been there for 25 years. He's made 2 state championship appearances. You have Coach Dodd. Mark Dodd, has run this wing T powerhouse type of offense over there in the Vermilion County, and usually goes up against Guy Goodlove at Westville. But, back to the whole Rockridge, Bismarck's kind of down a little bit lower in the bracket, but Rockridge with Sam Graves. They are always a very good football team this time of the year. He's a great halftime adjuster. He knows how to get the ball in the athlete's hands, And I think anybody that comes out of that Westville Taylor Ridge game will take on Seneca, and I think that'll be a great second round game.
As far as dropping down the 1A a little bit, I mean, we talk about the conference all the time. The NUIC is just unbelievably stacked every year. Lena Winslow, once again, the number one seed in the North. Besides them, who else should people look out for?
Well, I think an interesting matchup is going to be Kewanee Wethersfield against Deer Creek Mackinac, and I think whoever wins that game will take on Morrison. I think it's going to be Wethersfield and Morrison, and I think either one of those teams will give Lena a good game, depending on where that game's at. You could watch out for those guys. I think if you just kind of glance at 1A, I'm going to tell you right now, and I can't believe I'm saying this because, I coached my Fisher Bunnies for 14 years, and, to say what I'm going to say is probably hogwash to a lot of people in that area. But I think Gibson City is a team you could watch out for. I mean, they're 7-2. They're 6-3. They came down to the wire against Forreston up there at Forreston on Saturday afternoon. They recently beat a good Leroy team, and just kind of watch out for them. They took one on the chin against Hayworth. Watch out for Gibson City. Then down in the South, I think it's really up for grabs. I think Camp Point Central is probably the odds-on favorite. But if you look at some of these teams down there, I mean, let's just face it. I mean, Belleville Altoff is, kind of the team that everybody's kind of watching and wanting to see.
They're the buzz team, for sure.
They're the buzz team right now. Yeah.
Joe?
Yes. I was just going to say, I think another couple teams in the South could be, is it Cesar Valley?
Valor.
I think is a team that's undefeated that could be pretty good. Casey Westfield at the bottom end of the bracket are two teams that, to me, are interesting too. That could definitely get to a quarterfinal game or even a semifinal game against, let's say, a Belleville Altoff or a Camp Central. Camp Point.
Yeah, I think you make good sense with those. Also, too, I would say, Cesar Valley, maybe you might want to question their strength of schedule a little bit. They're 9-0. Mike Rood, a Hall of Fame coach, he's kind of a tasky old veteran. So we'll see what he does. In a second round game against Catlin Salt Fork. I think that'll be an interesting matchup. Salt Fork has a really good defense. Watch out for defenses when we get into this, nasty weather and some of these turfs and some of these bad playing conditions. Casey Westfield, the proof's in the pudding. They're year in and year out. They're good. They've had a few down years, but watch out for them. One thing I did want to cover. I did have a chance to kind of do a little research on Wilmington, and I tell you what, we're kind of piggybacking back to that, and that North's going to be just absolutely loaded. And, talking to Coach Wrench, he told me, he's like, this is one of the toughest, if not the toughest brackets I've ever seen in all of the playoffs, year in and year out.
I agree. We believe it. Well,
if you hear that from him, it's tough.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 3A, Byron is just Byroning people. They're just laying waste to people. So obviously they're going to be their number one seed in the North. They're a favorite in 3A, but I don't know, Matt, who comes out of the South in 3A?
Well, I think in the North, it's to that. I think it's going to be a collision course between Byron and possibly Princeton or Lombard. Lombard's 6-3, played a really tough schedule. They battled their way through it. But in the South, I think it's up for grabs. But I will say this. I think there's about 3 teams down there that I think are better than everybody else. And I'll say right now that I think Roxana is probably the odds-on favorite to get to the state championship, along with DuQuoin. But then I think Stanford Olympia and, St. Joe might have a say in that. Of course, I'm biased towards Olympia. I had my 1-year stint there. Coach Lyons, he does his best Georgia Tech, Navy, Georgia Southern triple option, impersonation. He's awfully tough to beat, but there's good teams down in the South. I think 3A is interesting because Byron's kind of the favorite up north. But down in the South, I think there's a little bit of parity down there.
Tell you what, and up in 4A, the one team that up in the North, guys, I think people cannot overlook just because of the record at 7-2. Coach Joe, Richmond Burton as a 5 seed is very dangerous right there.
Yeah, I agree. But again, that should be a little bit tough, a tough game too against Vider. But I've got them at least going to the quarterfinal against
and Wheaton Academy will not be an easy game. Wheaton Academy's had a nice resurgence here the last handful of years, Matt. But Richmond Burton, we know what they're capable of, and they could be very dangerous in that part of the North. And then obviously the other lower part of the North bracket, you've got Boylan, you've got IC Catholic, You've got Dixon. You've got St. Lawrence. You've got a really good group of teams there.
Yes.
Yes. 4A North is kind of very similar to 2A North.
Yeah.
If you think about it, Boylan, and we think of them, we think of 5A, 6A, Nick 10 football. I mean, let's just call it how it is. We're used to them playing Hononegah and Freeport and Harlem, and now they're going to have a chance to, take on IC in round 2, which I think would just be an incredible matchup. If you look up there a little bit more, though, I mean, that Richmond Burton against possible Wheaton Academy, it could be interesting. And, I think the winner of that in the quarterfinal game against IC would really, sell a lot of tickets. You go down south, I think there's one team to beat and only one team to beat. And until they get beat, they're going to be talked about as the team to probably win the state championship in 4A, and that's Rochester, until someone knocks them off. I mean, they haven't been there in 4 years, and I can guarantee you,
it's crazy.
Derek Leonard, now that the spotlight's maybe kind of away from the Leonard family because of Coach Ken kind of retiring, he's just lurking in the dark, Derek is. And right now he has a hungry group of kids that have not been on that turf. Have not been on that turf in 4 years. That's hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. It really is.
For all the success that Derek has had.
Yep. So I need you to help me with this, Mr. Lang. Okay. So
yes, sir. Yes,
a lot of the talk, obviously, when the pairings came out, probably the biggest surprise was the amount of 4 and 5 teams that got on the field. So we had 9 teams at 4 and 5 records get into the playoff field, which is the only other one we had the year before, one team getting in, 4 and 5.
Yep.
People want to know why all of a sudden this is happening. Well, I think part of the explanation is the growing numbers of our friends down in 8-man football. Can you explain that to some of the fans out there?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think we have eroding populations. We have schools and we have districts, in terms of the numbers are going down. They're still trying to keep their football alive with 8-man, which I think is a wonderful thing. We can talk more about that later. And, the bottom line is the bottom line. You got teams that are, trying to keep football alive. And then these 4 and 5 teams, I mean, tip your hat off to them. I mean, the QNDs of the world, they can't play anybody. So they have to freaking, schedule kind of an independent schedule. It's the same thing with, Belleville Altoff. They're the same thing. It's just sometimes it is what it is. And, these 4 and 5 teams, they sneak in there. But, I wouldn't want to play any of these 4 and 5 teams because they've been battle tested.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But there's also no doubt that the increase in 8-man is definitely changing the numbers overall. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
So
absolutely. I mean, it's a landscape shift, and I think it's a good thing. We talked about how the 8-man's kind of the wild, wild west. Well, it's a cool wild, wild west. And I think it's here to stay for a long time.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's just a matter of time before it gets accepted by the IHSA and they roll that into the rest of the football playoffs. So, my friend, great to have you on. Again, we'll check in with you as we move down the playoff road here.
Yes.
But,
it's great to join this great program. And I would give you guys a Wild West villain name, but I kind of ran out of them.
Ran out of him after last night. All right. If you can't get enough of that, and who really can't get enough of that, you can always listen to him on the Third and Lang podcast on EDGYTIM.com. It's a freebie. We put it out every Wednesday night. Give it a listen. And thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you. Have a good night.
You bet.
All right.
Absolutely, guys.
Matt Lang joining us. And that's going to about do it for the show. Joe, we had your guy back on.
Yes, he's a great guy.
He's the best.
Yeah, he is. I love talking.
Does a terrific job. Really knows his stuff, and we have a lot of fun on that podcast. So by all means, give it a listen.
Yeah, that's good because the only time I listen to it every once in a while, and he's just he knows his stuff very, very, very well.
Yeah, and he loves it. You can just feel the passion when you talk to him about it. So it's a lot of fun.
For sure.
Want to thank our guests. Want to thank Dave Dwyer. Want to thank Steve Susi. Jake Jaworski, as well as Dan Tito. Game of the week, Joliet West hosting St. Ignatius, 7:00 kickoff, 6:05 pregame here on 1340 WJOL. I will be all over the place this weekend, so I'll just leave it at that. You can go to my website and find out where I'm going to be. Joe, I know where you're going to be tomorrow night. Yep. So again, just appreciate everybody watching on the YouTube and the FaceTime, and everybody just have a great night. So for Evan, for Coach Joe, I'm EDGYTIM. This has been the round one edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Good night, everybody.